We Indians are outrageously festive people. We celebrate all throughout the year for different reasons in every possible form. And we are used to many such images around us, like this famous festival of Navratri, which is coming soon. And we are used to such weird images of goddesses like Kali, whom we call our mother. Does she fit into our idea of mother in any way? Absolutely not. She has a very grotesque looking face with large protruding eyes, multiple arms. She's painted blue to show that she's dark skinned, Kali, black in color. She wears a garland of skulls, yet we are quite comfortable with this very absurd image and we accept her as a mother. And our beloved Lord Ganesha, whom we celebrate every year, we welcome him and we send him off in the same fancy way. And we are quite okay with a Ganesha in different forms like this. One holding a laptop, as the famous Bollywood hero, as our beloved cricketer. And we can identify this form in very graphic style in the form of lines like these. But if you look closely, this is one of the most distorted, disproportionate, abstract form of all times. Who sits on a rat, whom we hate, otherwise we want him to be out of our house. He has a pot belly, very fat arms, many times four of them, and to add on to it, head of an elephant. A very weird image, but we are again very okay with it. In fact, we adorn this image everywhere from our wallets to our cars. So many times in our rituals, we have Ganpati in the form of beetle nut like this. Again, doesn't look like Ganpati or Ganesha at all, but we are quite okay with it. This beetle nut is a multi-purpose object in our culture. It can be planets and constellations in some places and can represent deceased in some rituals like these, along with geometric patterns of food grains and colored powders like kumkum and turmeric. But if the same thing is done by a modern Indian artist, like the paintings you see here, we are not really okay because we think it's too modern, it's too abstract, and we may not understand what they are trying to represent. How do we accept such absurd images? Because we Indians culturally are not really very radical people. We have lot of abstract ideas, like the problems that we have in our lives are mostly because of some sins which were committed by our ancestors. And there are a number of rituals to rid us from these problems, which we do in a very close by place called Trambakeshwar, very close to Nasik. If at all we are responsible ourselves for the sins we have committed, it's very easy to take a dip in the holy river during the Kumbh Mela and we can rid ourselves of our problems. There are much more abstract ideas that are discussed in our epics, like the Ardhanari Nateshwara, half man and half woman. A visual representation of Shiva with his consort or wife, the Shakti, shown as an abstract image as half man and half woman. There's also a character called Shikhandi from Mahabharata. You must all be knowing this character, the one responsible for killing of Bhishma. This is again a very interesting idea where the Shikhandi is a complete man physically, but he feels that he's a woman. Again, a modern idea of transgender, which has been already explored in epics. There's also a character like Ela, a king who was cursed that he would be a woman for half the year and a man for the other half. And he was pregnant, so he was a father and mother both to his children. We have also explored the idea of cross-dressing in our epics, like Arjuna, who was dressed as Bruhannada, the dancer, in the 13th year of his exile. Till date, we worship many of our gods in very archaic form, like the phallic visuals of Shivlinga, the male genital, and Shakti or the goddess in the form of the woman genital of vagina. We see many such images around our temples, which we don't really pay attention to, of the goddess as mother, literally shown giving birth to her children. We hoard our temples, we climb stairs, and finally, after standing in long queues to enter them, we reach halls, sometimes multiple of them, and are pushed into a very small room called as the Garbhagruha, where we literally meet the god in face because of the small space. I'm sure most of you must have thought, why can't they make these small rooms a little bigger, like mosques or churches maybe? Why do we have to meet the gods right in the face like this? The question itself is the answer. It's a garbha gruha, the house of the womb, the place where you were born. It has to be cozy, dark, very small, because you're meeting the creator, the God, who is your friend. He is not somebody superior to you. That is why you have to be in close proximity to the Creator. It is being one with yourself. Once you have met the God, you're pushed out of the hall into a circular pathway called as the Pradakshina Patha. The shape of the which, the dark patch around here, is very close to the shape of the umbilical cord. Again, the importance of which has been highlighted by modern science already. We are going to our womb and then revolving around the umbilical path, which seems to make us smarter genetically. And the erotic imagery on our temples. This is one of the most profound and one of the most misunderstood concepts of all times. Why do we have such erotic imagery on our temples? Sex is one of the activities of human beings which needs no education, which needs no inspiration. We all can naturally do it. And it is one of the physical activities which makes use of all the 5 sensory organs of a human beings, which are responsible for making us feel good, which are responsible for the aesthetic experience that we can have. The erotic imagery on our temples is the embodiment of this philosophy which tells us to feel more, experience through our 5 sensory organs rather than think with our brains. Unfortunately, our formal education gives us a very typical structure. It structures our life to a very formula where we take our education, we grow old, we take a job, and we are just taught to think. We have become very cerebral rather than sensual. We see, we identify, we understand, we analyze, and then we judge. We are taught to think, and think, rather than feel, perceive, and experience what is happening around us. Fortunately, our culture gives us a lot of breathing space, lot of festivals where we can express ourselves without any judgment, like Holi, where we dance around fire, where we submerge ourselves in colorful water, where women might hit their husbands as a ritual. What are we achieving out of these festivals? Our culture is helping us to bring out our stress, to bring out our repressed emotions. Imagine if you were never allowed to get angry, never shout, never express yourself the way you wanted to. You would have been sad, depressed people all your life. Fortunately, art festivals like these, where you sway your body to the rhythm of music without any training, helps you come out of your repressed emotions and feel good about yourself. Visual art, or any art for that matter, helps you to experience different kind of pain and emotions without actually going through those situations. People, we need to look at our art in a more liberal way. We need to look at our art in our own culture through the Indian way, which is a very abstract and much more liberal, much more sensual, based much more on our experiences rather than what we have been already taught. We need to look at our religious structures in a more abstract way, more like art, beyond what we have already been taught. It is important to look at what we are doing in a new way, in our own way. Thank you.